vortex. Please pray for me. I have a check engine light on. Okay. I spritzed some holy water on my car before I left because my appointment isn't until Wednesday. And I should have taken care of this earlier because it's been going on and off. So I was really hoping it was some kind of faulty sensor, but it was off for a while and then it just randomly came on, like when I was driving. So obviously something needs to be taken care of. I have a lot to tell you because there's always drama in my life, apparently. I decided to get off drugs. Like forever and ever and ever. I'm not doing drugs ever again. And the reason for this is because yesterday when I was at work, this friend of mine was talking to me, and it's funny now. It's really funny now. It was a pretty weird experience, but you know, she was talking to me and I was like noticing that everything started to look a little funky. And I had to dress burgers yesterday. Like that was my job title. Sandwich maker. And I was looking at the screen, and the screen just started to do all this like zigzaggy shit. And everything started to get brighter and more intense. And fine. You're not gonna let me over. Fuck you. I will move along. I mean, I don't understand why people don't let another person get over if like the lane's about to end. That doesn't make sense. Because like y'all are all stuck in traffic, you know? Like look at this shit. It's not speeding up. So there's no point in like switching lanes. You know, it doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, you see that? They were waving at me because they know I'm shooting a video, or they were waving at me because they're trying to get me distracted because they can tell by my vehicle that I'm easily distracted and that I get into accidents. They really shouldn't have done that. Oh my gosh. There's too much going on right now. See, this is why I don't need drugs, because my brain is already like all the time. And now there's a bug in my car. At least I'm not hallucinating that. Anyway. Oh, hey! thought it was just like some random lady that wanted to say hi to me. But no. She actually gave me one of my icons. She was supposed to be my sponsor when I was getting baptized, but her husband got cancer, and so she had to take care of him. So, totally understood that. But anyway, that was a side note. Literally a side note. Yeah, so I was hallucinating at work, and I think it was happening for about 20 minutes, and I was dressing burgers, and I was doing the best that I could, and eventually I was like, look, I gotta sit down. I'm having some sort of episode, and they know about me. They know that I got weird shit going on in my brain. So I looked up, visual hallucinations, and the type of hallucinations I was having were coming from my occipital lobe, and that's located at the base of my skull, I believe. But that's only happened one other time, like when I was waking up, and I noticed that things were brighter and more intense, but then it went away after about 10 minutes. I've only done hallucinogens, or psychedelics rather. I've only done psychedelics like a few times in my life, but I have smoked a lot of pot. And I quit smoking 2 years ago. I wasn't wanting to quit because I just have this attachment to it. But there was this sort of intuitive voice. I know it's the voice of God. So the intuitive voice comes from God. All the other voices come from the world. And so the intuitive voice told me to stop smoking pot back in 2016. I didn't listen to that voice up until 2 years ago. And now I know why that voice was telling me that. But yeah, so over Lent, I fasted from everything. I fasted from marijuana, I fasted from kratom, CBD. I didn't even take my muscle relaxer when I was having muscle spasms. I didn't do caffeine, so no coffee. I guess I could have had decaf, but I was trying to, fast. Because I was still drinking kefir, and we're not supposed to drink dairy. Like, dairy is one of the things we're supposed to abstain from during the Orthodox fast. So I just replaced that with, coffee, because coffee is way harder for me to fast from than dairy. But yeah, my bishop told me that I should probably just quit altogether, and I knew that he was right. Otherwise, I wouldn't have asked him. But old habits die hard, do they not? But the past week, I have been an emotional basket case, okay? Just crying about every motherfucking thing. And I know that it's the best thing for me to avoid mind-altering anything. Because, I mean, really, it's just time to get rid of it. I've been doing it for so long. Like, 20, maybe 25 years. On and off, but mainly on. So, there are at least like 10 reasons that I could come up with off the top of my head as to why I should quit doing drugs, but specifically marijuana. Number one reason being my mental health. But everybody that I work with, for the most part, the Latinos are the only ones that don't smoke weed. And all these kids puff on that THC vape pen that's not even real weed, and it smells like ass. And every time I smell that, I'm so grateful that I stopped smoking, because I know that it's not the same plant that it was when I was smoking it back in high school. And it just makes me sad. Like, when I listen to Grateful Dead, I cry because I'm reminiscing about weed before they fucked with it and turned it into this PCP strain. So, I don't know if I was hallucinating yesterday because I was doing more drugs again. And I was also fucking with kratom, if you didn't know. But you know, anything I do excessively. Because I'm very obsessive. And so, it's just kind of ridiculous that I would think I could moderate anything. Especially if it gives me an alternative to this shit world, you know? It's not really about escapism as much as it is about this, like, sort of heightened, enlightened state. Because there's a lot of stuff I've figured out when I've been high. Like, a lot of stuff. And I'm really lucky for that. But it's not like I need it to figure things out. I think it just happens a lot faster, you know? If I was just more patient with myself, and I know this is something that I go on and on about all the time, like that people just aren't patient enough. And like I said before, I think I said this in one of my previous videos, that, you know, this channel is really me giving advice to me. Because I am a very wise person, but a lot of time I don't take my own advice. So, you know, I hear this from parents in my church, so when they scold their kids, like their higher consciousness, so that intuitive voice that comes from God is like, how can you tell them not to do this when you do this, but in another way? And so, I really believe that the reason why marijuana is so much stronger is because a lot of people will go into psychosis. And since I apparently seem to be the only person that understands that state of mind in this country, because medical professionals have gone out of their way to not understand mental illness so they can keep everybody medicated and reliant on a fucking shit system that either kills them or maims them, so that they're dependent on the system even more. But anyway, Damn, traffic has never been this fucking bad. I'm glad I left early. There might be an accident or something. Let's see. 11:01. I'm gonna call my workplace. You guys, I know the number by heart. Can y'all say that? Can y'all say that? I'm stuck in really bad traffic right now. I just wanted to let you know because I actually left the house early, which I never do. But like the traffic is really bad, and I'm just on the freeway. But I wanted to tell you I have like a service engine light on, like a service engine soon. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay. Meow meow. Did you hear that voice? Did you hear how that voice changed? I was talking to a man. Okay? You know what's interesting? Is that like I am a way more masculine person. So when I'm around somebody that's more masculine, like I sound more feminine. But the longer I'm around them, like more and more of my masculinity comes out. And then they get this voice that you hear right now. But typically when I'm talking to females, I have a super low voice. Oh my gosh. So what was I talking about? Brought up a lot of stuff. Hallucinating, drugs, getting off drugs. What else? Man voice. Oh, I was talking about how the whole point of legalizing pot is to get people on more pharmaceuticals. Because once people go into psychosis, they're going to be prescribed neuroleptics. So, typically, like, if they're pushing a drug, that just means they're going to push even more drugs. You know, because that's how that shit works. That's why it's best to, like, you know, try to figure it out. I will say this, though. If you're going to get high, when you're high, you should try to analyze your situation. You know? So if you're really struggling with that, and you don't want to give it up, and you feel like you get something out of it. Now, if you do, then don't stop. You know, if you feel like the percentage of you that enjoys it and gets something out of it is higher than the percentage of you that doesn't, then yeah, don't listen to this. Okay? But if you're trying to quit and you're having a hard time and you think you should reduce your intake and you're really struggling with that, then yeah, whenever you get high, you should try to analyze why you're getting high and what it was that really motivated you to do that in the first place. Okay? But yeah, I've been so emotional, and I know that it's because of weed. Apparently that's like a withdrawal symptom. That's got to be a withdrawal symptom from kratom too, because kratom is like, you know, euphoric. So that's the problem with mental illness. Like, if you're using drugs to medicate, if you're already feeling in extremes, if your emotions are already intense, then getting high is going to make the lows even worse, you know? So I've essentially been in a state of despair for the past week. But yeah, I noticed that, like, when I was getting high, it wasn't what I was used to, you know, like, it wasn't doing it for me. Like, the initial incline would be positive, but after that, it was like, okay, why am I still doing this? You know, it's just not necessary anymore. And if you don't listen to that intuitive voice, you're going to feel guilty. And if you listen to the voice of the world, you're going to, like, be kicking yourself for that shit. Because you're not adhering to the part of yourself that wants to do better and live a better life and be more productive or just be more conscious, you know? Like, marijuana and, you know, psychedelics, like, they're really good at awakening somebody. But you're not supposed to do it all the time because, like, you know, like, when people say you're, like, wearing out your welcome, like, that's exactly what it is. So if you're, like, doing something that's supposed to have this real positive, transformative effect, but you're doing it all the time, it's not going to do that for you, you know? You're abusing it. So, yeah. Holy shit, this traffic is so bad. What is going on? And another thing that I want to talk about. Oh yeah, there's wheatgrass in this. Wheatgrass, kale, and alfalfa sprouts. Y'all know how much I hate kale, but I'm forcing myself to drink it because I'm trying to grow as a person, damn it. This really isn't so bad. You know the dude that I told you about? We were friends. We've been friends since high school. Well, we weren't really friends in high school, but we've known each other since high school. And we kind of had a falling out. We've had multiple falling outs. He kind of had a thing for me. Then he told me he was gay at one point. He's not gay. But he's one of my conspiratorial friends that, you know, has some idea of what's going on. You really need to cling to those people right now, because there's so few people that are actually awake. Well, like, he sent me 2 emails. think this was in March, because it was like right after Lent started. He sent me these 2 emails that were like really angry. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna leave you alone, because it seems like you don't want to continue this anymore, and whatever your issue with me is, I'm probably going to agree with it. Yeah, we didn't talk like that whole time. Because yeah, if somebody has a problem with me, however they see me is probably, you know, at least semi-accurate. And, you know, I'll be honest, I haven't been a very good friend to him at all. You know? Like, his dad died and I didn't even go to the funeral. You know? It's just shit like that. Like, it's really hard for me to be, like, emotionally available. Especially, and I think this is, like, I know this sounds like an excuse, but it is a valid reason. Like, if you have mental problems, like, they're going to literally fuck with your head. And I become convinced with dudes, and I'm sure you know in the vortex, if you're one of these dudes that isn't jerking off to me, thank you very much for not being in that class. But it's like anytime that somebody has a penis, I just freak out. And I just think that they want to do something with it. And so, yeah, it's definitely created this tension in our friendship because I falsely interpret things. Now, this tension was building up in our friendship because there was a lot of shit that he didn't want to say to me. Well, he said all of it last night. He called me because he sent me another email recently that was really angry, and he told me I was a horrible person. And then he called me to tell me, look, I shouldn't have said that. You're not a horrible person, but, you know, you're really cold. And I was like, I know, like, I'm not available. And, oh, hello, little bee. Hello, little bee. You can hang out, I guess. It's too hot outside, isn't it? It's because they cranked up that weather machine. So bees are not a fan of the weather machine either. Understandable. Anyway, yeah, so we talked for a little while last night, and we said a lot of things to each other that we had been wanting to say. And I'm realizing, you know, communication like that. One of my fans has said this. That's why he still has a lasting marriage. That you gotta have really open, honest communication. Otherwise, that shit ain't gonna work out. And I mean, that's true all across the board. I mean, that's definitely true, like, working in the restaurant industry. You know? But I really want to work on myself way more, you know? Because I don't want to be a bad friend. I don't want to just sit in my shit and act like I can't do any better. Or just use my mental illness as an excuse. I mean, if there's something legitimately happening, like, I need to just be clear about that. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what happened yesterday. Do I have to hallucinate?